Day came a lot earlier last season than anticipated. But as the hours, days, weeks, and months go by, it brings us back to the starting line. Loaded and ready to go for the long haul, the Phillies have arrived at their home away from home. Everything is in place. The preparations have already begun. The 6 weeks of fine-tuning is underway. The focus is now on the players, and the Phillies faithful are ready for the sun to rise on another unofficial start to spring. 2013 spring training in Clearwater has arrived. The Phillies have had a number of changes to their roster since the end of last season. One thing that hasn't changed, though, the excitement and the anticipation surrounding spring training. It's the 67th year the Phillies have made Clearwater their home as they open up their spring slate against the American League's newest team, the Houston Astros. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Chris Wheeler, his 42nd spring training down here in Clearwater. And I'll tell you, Wheels, there's always an anticipation and excitement surrounding spring training. For the Phillies, though, it's a little different anticipation for this year.
Yeah, it is, Tom. I know I always feel it. There's something about coming here every year. It's so great to be in Florida. Charlie Manuel is such a competitive guy. It's hard to believe he's going to start his 9th season now with the Phillies. And you think about all the good things that have happened. He kind of warmed up the first 2 years, and then the playoff run started in 2007. Last year, a downer of a season at 81-81, the great year with 102 wins, of course, a World Series championship. Now, last year, with that 81-81, everybody knows that injuries affected what happened, and Charlie talked about that.
Definitely injuries hurt us, and in the past, if we've always had injuries during the season and to some of our big players. But at the same time, when we have middle of our lineup like Utley and Howard, and then we get Holiday hurt early in the season, that was a whole lot for us to overcome. And and that's a big part of our team. And I think we kind of proved that once that we got Howard and Utley back. And although they weren't quite as sharp as they could have been, and they had to kind of work, to get their timing and playing again. We still, started to win games, and we started to make some games up, and we kind of ran out of season. We didn't have enough to finish at the end.
Oh, he can't wait to get started. You know how competitive Charlie Manuel is. There's been some talk about his contract. He don't want to hear any of that stuff right now. Just play baseball and have a good year.
One thing he did say at the end of last season, compared to a couple other teams in the division, that his team never quit, which is one of the reasons why they finished with an 81-81 record. Well, there are not only changes to the Phillies roster, but there's also some changes to the Phillies coaching staff. And for more on that, we welcome in Greg Murphy and the Sarge.
All right, thank you very much, T-Mac. And, Charlie Manuel heading into his 9th season as manager, Sarge. But some changes on his coaching staff. Of course, Ryan Sandberg is here, and 2 different hitting coaches. What kind of advantage is that for these guys?
Well, first of all, Steve Henderson is the guy that actually runs it. He's responsible for the hitting. Now you bring in a Wally Joyner from the left side. Well, you have more eyes looking at a hitter. And then from that left side, there's an advantage in having a Wally Joyner there. He's done it before. Both guys accomplished hitters. And don't forget, even a Sandberg at third base will be able to tell whether or not guys are pulling off. Should be a lot better for him this year, I'm thinking, Murray.
And a new trend in Major League Baseball to have 2 guys. So just more voices is better for these players, you think?
For me right now, with all the computers, you need 2 guys. All the soft tossing. All the players have programs. You got to be able to really feed each and every one of those players and make sure their egos are right. So for me, hey, you might even need 3 at one time the way things are going.
Well, they can always call on you then, Sarge. Plenty of work to go around, T-Mac. We'll send it back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Sarge has got a new hat for a new season. Guess who's starting today? That's right, it's Cole Hamels as we kick off another spring training in Clearwater when we get back. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experienced good banking? By Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Phillies. And by Toyota. Every new Toyota purchase comes with Toyota Care. Let's go places. Welcome back to Bright House Field, everyone, as folks are settling in, getting ready to start the 2012 spring training season. And look who came out a little earlier. It was Chase Utley who got things underway. His first spring training game in a couple of years. In fact, I said 2012. It's 2013. Wheels, you showed up in the right year. It's 2013. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today's ball game for the visiting Houston Astros, their first year in the American League. Leading it off at shortstop, Tyler Green. Marwin Gonzalez, the second baseman, bats second. Justin Maxwell hits third, followed by Chris Carter over from the A's. J.D. Martinez is in left field. He'll bat fifth. Nate Fryman, the DH, bats sixth. In the bottom third of Dominguez, Corcoran, and Trevor Crow over from the Indians organization. And they'll face Phillies left-hander Cole Hamels. A lot of talk about Cole Hamels in camp so far this week, Wheels, about the possibility of him being the opening day starter for the Phillies.
Yeah, Tom, I think it's become a probability now. It really looks like they're going to go that way with Halladay 2 and then Cliff Lee 3. That's the way they're going to set it up here in spring training. He said all the right things, too. Cole Hamels, you know, he just kind of lays back the way that he does and then competes. And Roy Halladay said he's earned it. He's gotten to the point where that should be his role on this baseball team with his age, with his contract situation, and where Halladay is at this point.
Hamels coming off a year, as you saw, in which he won 17 games, which was fifth best in the National League. And he has just finished up his warm-up tosses. So the first pitch of spring training 2013 is about to be thrown. Charlie Manuel, as we mentioned, in his 9th year. I think he's excited about this year because of what the Phillies did last year and the changes they've made coming into the season.
Well, as we talked about in the opening, the guy's competitive and he loves baseball. One thing about Charlie, he just wants to get to the ballpark every day, and there is a challenge involved this year. Not that there wasn't before, but there really is this year.
Tyler Green will lead it off for the Astros, and the first pitch of the day is taken a little high, so we're underway. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Green, a 25-year-old, acquired last year from the St. Louis Cardinals. Ground ball to third. First chance for Michael Young.
I guess we ought to mention it too, Tom, before the potential circus breaks out. The wind is blowing out unbelievably. Watching batting practice today, you got to keep the ball down.
Yeah, in fact, there's so many players that are in camp. You could see smiles on their faces when they were taking BP earlier today.
Anything in the air today could be an adventure. And they keep the ball down, then you get a ground ball to Michael Young, who it's appropriate. Playing third base for the Phillies for the first time, gets the first play of the year.
Marwin Gonzalez now the batter for the Astros, and he takes a pitch a little high. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Gonzalez last year hit .234 with 2 home runs and 12 runs batted in. Fly ball, that'll be a shallow right field. Chase Utley's first chance, and he's called off by Dominic Brown. So quickly 2 set aside. The thought is that Cole Hamels will be around 35 pitches this afternoon. Now that may be 1 inning. It might be 2 innings. You know, it's mostly fastballs that you'll see today from Cole, and for the first go around for a lot of these pitchers. Rich Doobie, the Phillies pitching coach, just wants them to get the feel of the mound, the energy of the game. You know, these guys have been throwing a number of side sessions in live batting practice. Well, there's the first changeup of the day for Cole Hamels, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, when you're a veteran pitcher like these first 3 guys are going to start, and even Kendrick and Lannon, who are veterans, they have their way of getting ready for spring training. They know if they're going to be working on a pitch. I don't know that you think of the first 3 guys, whether they are working on a pitch this spring. They're not. They have their repertoire. What Halladay wants to do is get his sinker back, and it's more of his velocity. But Hamels, he knows what he is now.
1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Justin Maxwell, who led the Astros in home runs a season ago with 18.
When you say he'll throw a lot of fastballs, he throws a cutter right there, and that's just another type of fastball.
2 balls and 1 strike, the count to Maxwell. Ground ball toward third, diving stab by Michael Young. And he knocks it into foul territory, so that'll be a base hit for Maxwell.
The thing about Michael Young coming over here and playing third base, he's going to get a lot of action because you got 3 lefties in your starting lineup, or starting rotation. With 1, 3, and 5, that ball's hit hard to his right, and that's a play you hope he can make. Because that's a play the ball's hit pretty hard, but certainly a play that should be made.
Phillies have been spoiled over third base defensively in recent years with Placido Polanco and Pedro Feliz. Although Polanco missed a lot of the time last year, and Kevin Franzen did a great job. The runner goes. The pitch is taken for a strike, and the throw by Kratz goes into center field. And Ben Revere quickly backs it up, but Maxwell will get over to third. So that'll be a stolen base for Maxwell and an E2.
And he stole that on Cole. He got a tremendous jump. We've watched Eric Kratz last year and been amazed the way he can throw from his knees and throw with accuracy and velocity, but he had no shot there.
So 2 outs, runner over at third for the Astros. It's 1 ball and no strikes to Chris Carter. Big home run threat who the Astros recently acquired from the Oakland Athletics. Last year he hit 16 home runs for the A's. And he takes outside. It's 2-0. Foul ball off to the right. By the way, the home plate umpire has just let everybody know that the count is 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's Toby Bassner. Marty Foster's over at first, and Vic Carapaza's around at third. Most games during spring training there will be 4 umpires, but there are some games where there will be just 3. Swing and a miss. He tied him up. That's a beautiful pitch from Hamels, who gets through the first inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. There was 1 Phillies error. On to the bottom of the first, and here come the Phils offense. Well, back here at Bright House Field, the fans still settling in. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Phillies. Leading it off at center field, Ben Revere. Michael Young, the third baseman, bats second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Ryan Howard and Darren Ruff. Dominic Brown's in right field. He'll bat sixth. Lance Nix, the DH today, hitting seventh. Yuniesky Betancourt will be at shortstop today for Jimmy Rollins, and Eric Kratz does the catching. And they'll face the pitcher of the year a season ago for the Houston Astros. It's right-hander Lucas Harrell, who last season was 11-11 with an ERA of 3.76. His numbers were pretty good for a team that struggled so much last year, Wheels.
We saw him twice. In fact, he had a classic meltdown in a game at Citizens Bank Park after he came out. He was not very happy with himself. One thing you noticed about him, even though with 13 home run balls allowed, he's a heavy sinker ball pitcher. He's a sinker slider guy with a little bit of a changeup, but for the most part, he tries to get you out early in the count with ground balls.
Well, he'll face one of the newest members of the Phillies, Ben Revere. In fact, Revere, Young, and Utley are the first three hitters for the Phillies this afternoon. And Ben takes a ball inside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Revere last year hit .294 for the Twins. No home runs, 32 runs batted in. He also stole 40 bases and was caught 9 times.
He doesn't walk much, and they say he gets ahead in the count. But what he does is he doesn't swing and miss. So when he swings, he puts the ball in play. Guys walk a lot, Tom. Not only are patient, but they foul balls off. And evidently, when you watch Revere, he doesn't foul a lot of balls off. When he swings, he hits it, and it's fair.
Yeah, if you're interested in numbers, there's so many numbers that are out there. But his plate appearances, he averages just under 4 pitches per plate appearance as he was taking all the way there, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, most guys that average a lot of pitches and plate appearances foul pitches off. Well, there he's up there taking 5 right there.
24 years old. established himself as one of the better defensive center fielders in the American League a season ago. This is going to be a tough play for Marwin Gonzalez because Revere puts it in play and he's got an infield hit.
See, that's what you're going to see a lot of from Ben Revere. Remember when the Phillies played in Minnesota last year, had 5 or 6 hits and maybe 2 of them left the infield. And we talked about him at the time. We didn't know much about him. We said, man, can he fly? Well, look at him run here. Second baseman has to go to his right. And when you have to go that far to your right with a guy like Revere, put it in your pocket.
Yeah, he smelled hit as soon as that ball left the bat.
Let's see what you figure they'll put him on his own. Now, Young, who's up right now, is a guy can hit the ball in the hole to right field from what we're told.
And Michael Young takes a pitch down and away. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
He hit a single in the hole yesterday in the squad game.
He comes into 2013 with 2,230 career hits.
That's 6 years of 200 or more hits. That's amazing.
There goes Revere. Pitch is taken inside. The throw by Corcoran nowhere near the bag, so Revere has a stolen base.
Yeah, and he didn't even get a good jump because he slipped as he started to go. Whether he slipped, spun his wheels, but there was a moment of hesitation there where he didn't really get a good jump, and now the throw's way offline. Watch right there. See, he spun him a little bit. The throw's so offline and weak that he steals it easily. Nice watch him run. Now, you're going to see a lot of that this year. It's going to be fun. Now, what we want Young to do is hit it the other way and maybe you can get a quick round the first inning.
2-0 the count to Michael Young that he takes outside. 3 balls and no strikes.
Just his approach right now, just watching him, he's trying to set his hands in a way to hit the ball the right side.
Michael Young now 36 years old. And he takes on the inner half. It's 3-1. Last year it was a down year power-wise with 8 home runs and 67 runs batted in. Opposite way, that's a fair ball. A nice play by Carter. It gets Revere over to third. And they just get Michael Young at first.
Yeah, Harold didn't cover right away. Young is an average runner, especially at this point in his career, and that was a nice play by the first baseman Carter over there to wait and then lead his pitcher who was late covering. But there you go. He got the job done. He hits the ball the right side. Right there. Gets a sinker. Trying to hit it to the right side. See how late Harold was breaking off the mound. And just beats him. Good call. How many times are you going to hear that? Get over there. And the guy freezes.
Well, Revere's over at third, and here's Chase Utley. What a nice round of applause Chase received when he was introduced before the start of the game, and even just now by Don Gukian, the public address announcer here at Bright House Field.
Now here's your easy run that you want to get.
And there you go. A line drive to center field, a base hit, and the Phillies take the early spring training lead.
Say an easy run. When you get him over, then you want to get him in with a ground ball in the infield. Chase gets a little more than that with a base hit.
Last year, Chase and Ryan Howard were out for most of the season. And as Ryan even said when he came back, just never really got into sync.
Well, as you said, Tom, it seemed funny seeing Chase Utley there with his base hit to center being introduced in a game here in this ballpark, because it's been 3 years. It's the 3rd season.
Well, he's aboard. Ryan Howard is the batter. Howard last year played in 71 games, had 14 home runs and 56 runs batted in. He is a little slimmer compared to last year because he's been able to work on his legs.
And Bo Porter, their new manager, has certainly been in the National League a long time, so he's going to throw the shift on.
3 infielders on the right side. We've had a chance to watch Ryan on the back fields an awful lot over the last 10 days or so, and there is no doubt that he is moving way better than he did last year.
Well, you hope that would happen. It's a big man coming back off a very serious injury, trying to play last year basically on one leg.
1 ball, 1 strike to count. Outside, 2-1.
Harold with a sinker ball, and he's really struggling trying to get it down right now in any kind of location.
Yeah, we mentioned pitch count. He's at 15 right now. He may not pitch more than an inning.
See Jared Cosart here this afternoon. Big guy in that Pence deal when the Phillies got Hunter Pence and moved a pitcher they really liked.
Outside and low, 3-1.
It's nice to see him spitting on those sinkers away, because those are the kind you hook into a double play, or for sure force out at second with all those bodies on the right side.
Darren Ruff waits on deck. There goes Utley. The pitch is fouled back, and it's 3-2. Chase got a very good jump over at first base, and that's a good sign that he's running this early.
Yeah. Good count to run on, too, and now especially is a good count to run. Now, you're always thinking strikeout double play with a Ryan Howard, but he also maybe puts a ground ball pitcher in play and you stay out of the double play.
He goes again. The pitch chopped to the right side. Marwin Gonzalez is there. Utley's going to go all the way to third because nobody's covering third. Dominguez, the third baseman, was shifted over towards shortstop. So there are 2 outs, and the Phillies have a runner at third for Darren Ruff.
Great base running and brain cramp by the Astros. That'll be something that I'm sure a coach over there is either writing down or will address as soon as possible. There's Utley. Right away he sees, okay, that's a third baseman standing there, and that catcher's not going to beat me down there from where he is.
So a runner at third for Darren Ruff, and Ruff takes up and in 1-0. Ruff there were a number of bright spots in yesterday's inter-squad game, which lasted 5 innings, but he had 2 really good at-bats where he put the ball in play, and then he walked a third time. He's coming off a year with the Reading Phillies where he hit 38 home runs and 108 RBIs.
He can hit a long one today if he gets it in the air. The thing you noticed about him last year was the way he ran the count. Boy, Harold really works fast.
2-1 the count to Ruff. And a chopper foul up the third base line. Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, the new coaching alignment this year. Murph and Sarge, they touched on some of it, especially the hitting aspect of it, which we'll get around to later. But Rhino at third base, Juan Samuel now at first.
Sammy's wearing his old number 8 over at first base.
Numero ocho. That was a number that he loved when he played, and boy, oh boy, was it fun to watch him win that number.
Well, he's wearing it because Shane Victorino is no longer a member of the Phillies. A chopper to third, scooped on a short hop by Dominguez, and the inning comes to a close. But it was productive for the Phillies. They get a run on 2 base hits. They leave Utley over at third, but this is what the Phillies hope they'll see a lot of. Revere with the swipe, and then Utley with the RBI to give the Phils the early lead. Top of the second inning, Phillies on top 1-0 as Cole Hamels goes back to work. He'll begin the second against J.D. Martinez, who was the everyday left fielder last year for the Astros when the season began, but it didn't finish up that way. He has a chance to be the everyday left fielder again, but it's not his job as spring training begins because he struggled so much after a 19 RBI month of April.
This guy looked like he could hit. First saw him the year before.
To right field, Dominic Brown, and he's battling the wind. It is a very difficult wind day, as many days are here in Clearwater. Yeah, there's one away.
Yeah, when it's blowing in, it's a little easier for them, but it's doing what it's doing right now. It's going to be an adventure. Here it is. This thing is a big league pop-up, too. That normally would be near the infield, but it's going to go all the way to right field, and then it starts blowing away from him. It was well, it was a routine play that wasn't.
With one out, that'll bring Nate Fryman to the plate. Fryman was a Rule 5 selection this past offseason by the Astros from the San Diego Padres. He has a big man swing, and he's got a lot of pop. He had 24 home runs last year, had 105 RBIs. Former 8th round selection out of Duke back in 2009. Pops that one up into foul territory. Kratz has room and makes the catch.
And wind blew that thing back.
Phillies will begin the home schedule this year against who, Wheels?
James Shields.
And the Kansas City Royals on Friday, April 5th at 4:05. It's Modell's Sporting Goods opening day. Free rally towels for fans entering the ballpark. Saturday the 6th is Turkey Hill Kids opening night. And then Sunday, it is the IBEW Local 98 Ryan Howard Wiffle Ball set for fans 14 and under. Tickets are available now by going to Phillies.com.
Just part of the conversation of this year. The Astros are here. They're in the American League. Much more interleague play this year. And starts right out with the Phillies in interleague play.
Against the team they faced and defeated in the 1980 World Series, the Kansas City Royals.
Yep.
Matt Dominguez, who should be the everyday third baseman for the Astros, waves at a changeup. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Hamels thinks the way he's throwing today, but he's used his cutter. He's gotten some outs on it. Throwing some good changeups like that one.
Little low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Take a look at the pitch count, which is just above the outs at the top of your screen. You can kind of follow along with the Phillies pitchers this spring. There's a changeup popped up behind home plate. Kratz off with the mask, battling the wind, and makes the one-handed grab. Not an easy play. Probably helped out a little bit because it wasn't all that high. A 1-2-3 second for Cole Hamels. Pretty good start to the spring. For a lot of the Astros players, they've had to introduce themselves to their coaching staff this year. It is different, although the guy second from the left, Bo Porter's the one sitting down. The first one is Doug Brocal. He is the pitching coach. He's a holdover from last year. But a handful of different changes for the Astros coaching staff as we begin 2013. It's a new era for a team that lost 107 last year and 106 2 years ago. And for more on that, let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
Well, you're absolutely right, T-Mac. And one of the big changes is after almost 50 years in the National League, they are now headed over to the American League of the Houston Astros. Not only a big change for the franchise, but a big change for Major League Baseball, because what it means is an unbalanced schedule, which means interleague play virtually every day of the regular season. And that includes the Phillies starting up their home opener, as you guys mentioned, against Kansas City. It is an interesting thing, Wheels, because obviously it's something we've never seen before in Major League Baseball. It'll be interesting to see what kind of effect it has on the players.
Yeah, Murph, and everybody said, well, you're playing the Royals right out of the chute. Yeah, but what you have to look at is you get their best pitchers right out of the chute, too. And James Shields is one of them, and he can be very difficult in one of the first couple games.
Yeah, the Astros will start their schedule against the Texas Rangers. So they're already, I mean, that was already a rivalry, right, Murph? I mean, but they're kind of reestablishing it as an American League rivalry now.
And, guys, it doesn't change a whole lot. You know, in the course of the season, the Phillies will still play 6 interleague series. But, again, it's just dotted throughout now and not clumped together in the middle of the season. So.
Murph, how was your offseason, by the way?
The offseason was terrific. You know, enjoyed every minute of it, but happy to come back and ready for some baseball again.
Well, Dominic Brown with the base hit to right field to start off the second. Now, just to put you on the spot a little bit, because I think I know the answer to this, but will the Major League Notebook be back?
I am told the Major League Notebook will be back, but maybe we're going to wait a couple weeks before we unveil it this year so I can go out and shop perhaps for a new notebook. But it is coming back, and I know that a lot of people have asked me about that during the offseason, so I'm happy to report it will.
How about your scorebook? You got a new scorebook this year?
I got a new scorebook as well, and I just missed Don Brown's hit, apparently, so I'll have to write that down in a minute.
Single in the hole to right, Murph.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Brown leads off first. Lance Nix takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Nix last year was banged up. There's no doubt about it. A calf injury left him with just 70 games. He's come into camp in pretty good shape and is ready to battle for a spot not only on this roster but also possibly in the outfield in some capacity.
Well, he's a really good fastball hitter. Teams like to throw him a lot of breaking stuff. He can play all 3 outfield positions, and he's strong. Guy can hit some home runs, too. So if you keep him healthy, you have a chance to get some production out of a guy like Nix.
When we say battling for an outfield spot, nothing is set in left field and right field right now.
Can't wait to see who's on that plane at the end of March.
1-1 the count to Nix. And a throw over. Brown is back.
Bo Porter, who's their manager, right?
He's
been on a lot of radio pregame shows over the years, right?
He is, I guess technically you can call him a friend of the program as far as the Phillies go.
He and Sarge are tight. Well, that is some job for your first big league job. Hopefully they said to him, you're in a development phase and you're not expected to win, because they could have some problems. You know, you're looking at a franchise right now that has lost 213 games in the last 2 years. And what they have going into this season does not portend for a winning season. Never know, but doesn't look like it.
Their payroll, and I know a lot of people talk about payroll, is probably going to be around $30 million, maybe a little bit more.
Can you imagine?
In this day and age.
Phillies have several players on their team who make $25 million just themselves.
And they're going into a whopper of a division, too.
Oh. American League West. Wow.
2-1 the count to Nix. And he takes low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, they have a great fan base down there. It was so exciting going into Houston for so many years with all the great players that they had, the enthusiasm. We'll miss going there. But they have a heck of a rebuilding job in front of them.
Phillies for the second consecutive time run with the count 3 balls and 1 strike. Nix takes low, and now first and second for Yuniesky Betancourt.
Yeah, that's just something they're very interesting to watch. They run in 3-1, 3-2, almost automatic, and unless you have a combination you're afraid of. But running 3-1. We'll have to talk to them a little bit and see what their feeling is on this, why they want to experiment with this a little more. When you have a lot of swing and miss guys, it's hard to run in those kind of counts.
Yuniesky Betancourt getting a chance to play shortstop today. Jimmy Rollins is getting set to leave for the World Baseball Classic. In fact, the Phillies have 10 different players from across the system that'll be participating in this year's WBC.
Coaches and managers, too.
Right.
Not managers, but coaches.
Juan Samuel will go with the Dominican Republic team.
Ernie Witt's going to manage the Canadian team. Rolly DeArmas is going to be part of the U.S. team.
Betancourt last year hit .228 with 7 home runs and 36 runs batted in.
There are a lot of guys down there already thinking about how much BP they're going to be throwing and what their arms are going to feel like.
Betancourt signed a free agent contract not too long ago to come to camp with the Phillies and battle for one of the extra infield positions. And a lot of his success with the Phillies will be dictated by himself, but also by what they decide to do with a guy like Freddie Galvis. Whether Charlie Manuel and Ruben Amaro want Freddie to play on a daily basis, or if they want him to be with the big club and get, as Charlie told us yesterday, between 200 and 300 at-bats.
Betancourt's a guy that can play on a big league team. Now, not necessarily an everyday player. He's a wild swinger, never been real disciplined at home plate, but a very good defensive shortstop. And when you can get a guy that can play shortstop and catch the ball and throw it, they're valuable.
Now, some of the guys that the Phillies have brought into camp, some of the veterans, have what they call an out in their contract. For Betancourt, his is before the end of spring training, where he can opt to file for free agency and possibly sign with another team. Some of the pitchers, like let's say an Aaron Cook who's in camp, they have an out that's a little later on in the regular season. 1-2 the count to Betancourt. Now 31 years old. Hits that one hard. One hop right past Dominguez. Brown on his way home. The throw to the plate by Martinez way off line. 2-0 Phils.
That was a bad hop. That should be hitting an RBI. That thing took a nasty hop, and it was smoke.
Well, that is the 4th hit of the day for the Phillies.
Now, if you're Ryan Sandberg right now, what you want to do in spring training is test your base runners. And you see, even though the ball's just getting the left fielder right there, he's waving Dominic Brown. He wants him to run hard, give him a chance to score. There's that hop I was talking about. That was a brutal hop. Thankfully for the third baseman, Dominguez, he got away from it. It didn't get him in the chops. But spring training for third base coaches, especially new ones, they will get guys thrown out a lot because they're trying to find out things about their base runners.
Eric Kratz is the number 9 hitter for the Phillies this afternoon. Kratz, while in the big leagues last year, 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in. And he's behind in the count, no balls and 1 strike.
I remember asking Sam Perlazo about that his first year. I said, what are you doing down there? He said, well, I got to find out who I can score and who I got to stop all the time. He said, and this is the perfect time to do it.
Juan Samuel said the same thing last year when he was trying to gauge, what abilities guys had.
You're also trying to get them and make sure they come hard at you at third and let you make the decision.
A liner to center field. Maxwell is there and 1 away. Sunday night warm-up for the Phillies season with exclusive interviews with the newest additions to the Phillies squad, Michael Young, Ben Revere, and Mike Adams. Watch Phillies Focus Sunday night at 10:30 only on Comcast Sportsnet. We're not scheduled to see Mike Adams today, but all reports are outstanding for the Phillies' new setup man, who will complement Jonathan Papelbon very nicely in the back end of that Phillies bullpen.
Boy, he is a tremendous 8th inning guy. If he's a Mike Adams, he's been throughout his career. Cutter, fastball, strike thrower. Quick outs.
Revere singled and scored his first time up. And he takes outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
You're going to see most teams play him the other way, too, in the outfield. They're going to bunch him towards left and left center and shallow because he doesn't have a home run in the major leagues, and he slaps it around. You see the overshift there in the outfield. You watch him take BP sometimes when he's having fun, and he's a lot stronger than you think he is. You know, he will pull balls out of the ballpark, but he has decided his game is Juan Pierre-ish, and that's to swing the bat and get on base and make things happen with his legs.
Off the hands, Harrell spins to second for one, and they are able to turn the double play. And the inning comes to a close. But the Phillies do get a run on an RBI base hit by Yuniesky Betancourt. That brought home Dominic Brown. So it's 2-0 Phils as we go to the third. Get suited up for spring training at the official online shop of the Phillies with the largest selection of authentic spring training gear, including clubhouse caps and t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and more. Get set for spring at the official source, thephillies.com shop. Some new items that you can check out at phillies.com. If you come down to the ballpark, you can go to the Diamond Outfitters store, which is right there along the concourse. We won't have any book signings this spring, will we, Wheels, down the left field line? Are we done signing books?
Me?
Yeah.
Funny you should mention that. Haven't had any for a long time, actually, but
do they have some extras here at the Diamond Outfitters store that they need to get rid of?
No, but it is coming out in paperback with new material.
When is the movie coming out?
I don't know, but I'm trying to figure out your role, and I have something in mind which we'll get to later.
Oh, great.
But yes, since you brought it up, there could be a book signing. Yes,
a paperback book signing.
Yes.
B.J. Rosenberg takes over for Cole Hamels. Hamels goes 2 innings, allows 1 hit, no runs. Nice start for Cole. Rosenberg, who spent time last year with the Phillies, is a long man. Will face the bottom of the order for the Astros. It's Carlos Corcoran, and his first pitch is outside.
You were nice enough to bring it up without knowing it. It's called From the Booth.
From the Booth.
4 decades with the Phillies. We'll probably get into that later.
Popped up right side, Utley in shallow right field, and puts it away.
View from the booth.
I was gonna say, is it a different title in paperback?
I knew that as soon as I said it. I said, well, it's paperback, so we cut off a word.
Oh, is that true?
No.
Oh.
Don't make it that new.
I saw Sarge signing some of his book earlier today.
Sarge is a book-a-year guy.
Yeah.
He writes them a little differently than I did. Someone else does it.
Oh, what a way. Here's Trevor Crowe. Crowe, a former first-round pick of the Cleveland Indians, signed as a minor league free agent with an invite to Major League camp by the Astros this past offseason. Last year he hit .281 with 3 home runs and 29 runs batted in. That was overall. In AAA, you see he hit .301. And he takes on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike.
B.J. Rosenberg, another big arm potential for this bullpen. Seen him a little bit over the last couple years. Real good fastball. Has to keep it down like all guys in this league and improve his slider and maybe a little bit of a changeup. And he has a chance to pitch in the big leagues and be effective. Because he's got some cheese. There's no doubt about it. But on major league hitters, you cannot throw it fast enough for them if you throw it up. They just want to hit fastballs.
His earned run average was elevated a season ago, partly because of a couple of different outings, specifically where he gave up a bunch of runs.
Yeah, normally he gets hurt on high fastballs, although he got beat with a home run in extra innings in Baltimore last year on a slider.
1-2 the count to Crow, the number 9 batter for the Astros. Fights that one off toward left field. Rough on the run, and he can't get it. It's over his head and a hop off the wall.
Well, that's a hard play for a guy that's not used to being out there anyway, let alone with the wind blowing out the way that it was. He actually, I think he played that pretty well. He turned correctly. He was gliding towards it the way you want him to do, with a slicing from a left-handed hitter's bat, and then the wind just took it another 10 feet. See right there, that his technique, everything's good about that. Except you can't factor in when you practice 20-mile-an-hour wind. If he can do that kind of thing there, he can catch those.
They said the biggest thing, just talking to Ruben Amaro and Charlie Manuel, the biggest thing is for any outfielder going back on a ball like that. Right. Everything else around him, they feel like he's making the proper adjustments.
Well, the first thing you look for in that is that he gets spun around. And he did. He turned the correct way and went after it properly. But that thing that was a jet stream behind it.
Tyler Green grounded out his first time up. He's 0 for 1. That was against Cole Hamels, who was very strong through 2 innings. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Green played 39 games last season with the Astros and had 7 home runs during that time after he was picked up from the St. Louis Cardinals.
And this is a guy that organization thought could be their everyday shortstop for a number of years. Just hasn't happened.
Well, the Astros think that now because they sent Jed Lowry to the Oakland Athletics not too long ago.
He was in that Carter deal.
At the knees, 3-1 the count. There goes the runner. Pitch is hit foul behind the plate, and it's 3-2. Crow had a pretty good lead off second. He was dancing as the pitch was coming to the plate.
So what are the Astros doing with their unis this year? You're good on that stuff.
Well, that's the new logo, which is the old logo. You remember they used to have that logo?
Very well.
It's the H with the orange star. They'll have their gray on the road, the alternate being a blue, that color blue right there, and the white at home. The uniform is very similar to the one that they wore before the rainbow stripes. Remember the rainbow stripes?
Sure. Not like you do, but I remember it.
Very similar.
When you bring that up, the rainbow stripes, I think, were the 80 team.
They were.
Right?
They were the 80 team. And into the mid-80s, and then they changed over in 86.
Kind of like that brick look they had. That red brick. You like that?
I liked it, but I like this better.
Okay.
3-2 the count to Green. Outside, ball 4. Runners on first and second. And that'll bring Marwin Gonzalez to the plate. Rosenberg has a chance to be the long man for the Phillies. The way the bullpen rounds out as the spring goes on. But he does have options, which gives them a chance to send him down to Lehigh Valley, where he can be a starter. Marwin Gonzalez flat out to right his first time up. Runners go. Pitch is taken inside. The throw by Kratz is in foul territory, so a double steal.
Well, they ran on a breaking ball there, and that little bit more time but definitely stole that on B.J. Rosenberg. And a good job by Green at first to follow the first guy. Here you see a slider right there, and moves inside. A little bit tougher pitch to throw on too for the catcher Eric Kratz. Fastball away there would have been perfect to throw on.
So the infield back with the Phillies up 2-0, and a liner to right field. That'll drop in front of Dominic Brown. 1 run scores easily, and the whole Green at third. So an RBI single. It's a 2-1 ball game. Second hit of the inning for Houston.
Yeah, they've run the bases well in this inning. Take a look at it. Fastball looked like it was down the middle, and just turn it around. Second base, the guy on second base, Tyler Green, really had to hold up on that. He didn't know if that was going to carry all the way out to Dominic Brown or not.
Justin Maxwell reached on an infield single his first time up. A ball off the glove of Michael Young at third. So he's up with runners on first and third. And a slider for a strike. It's 0-1. Little number back toward the mound. They'll get 1 over at first as the runner from first. Gonzalez moves up to second, and Green holds over at third. And 2 outs for Chris Carter. Turned out to be a pretty good play because Maxwell runs pretty well.
Yeah, just the key to that play for a pitcher, B.J. Rosenberg, is don't panic. You know you have the out if you make the play, but if you panic a little bit, all of a sudden they're loaded with 1 out.
Chris Carter struck out his first time up. Carter's over at first base today. The Astros did not bring a couple of their starters like Jose Altuve, who will start at second base this year, and Carlos Pena, who could be at first base or he could be the designated hitter for the Astros going into the season. Problem with making him just the designated hitter, and that's part of the plan right now, is that he's probably the best defensive first baseman the Astros have in camp.
He is. He's good defensive. He was a starting first baseman, of course, for the Rays when they played the Phillies in the World Series.
2 balls, no strikes the count to Carter. Ground ball foul. Past Dave Tremblay at third.
Kind of famous again, too, after Moneyball, huh?
Well, yeah, because Art Howe did not want him to play, and Billy Beane wanted him to play.
He was a big part of that of the movie, and the book, obviously.
Or was it the other way around? Was it Hatterberg that they wanted to play, that Billy Beane wanted to play first, and it was Pena who was playing? That's what it was.
He wanted on base percentage.
That's what it was.
And Pena's home runs and a lot of strikeouts, and that's what his career's been.
2-2 the count to Carter. Towering pop-up. Third base side, Michael Young and Betancourt. It's Betancourt who makes the catch up the left field line. Man, did that ball carry. A run scores for the Astros. Middle of the third. Phillies up by 1. Phillies baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Last of the third, Phillies lead at 2-1. Wills, guess who's in town? It's opening day here in Clearwater.
Only perfect to have the Philly Fanatic here entertaining the crowd.
Fanatic is supposed to do a couple of other appearances around Clearwater the next day or so. And then he'll be back later on this month. Came in from Philadelphia.
One will probably be at the Palm Pavilion.
There's a pretty good chance. The Fanatics had a busy offseason, so he, like Chase Utley, kept things going. So he doesn't really need a full spring training.
Legs look like they're in good shape.
They're in very good shape.
Yeah, so's the snout.
Xavier Cedeno is the new pitcher for the Astros. He'll take over for Lucas Harrell, who went the first two, allowed 2 earned runs on 4 hits. Cedeno last year, no wins, 1 loss, an earned run average of 3.77.
Saw so much of these guys late in the year, did the Phillies, that you know a lot of these players. Whereas, you know, in many cases, you're going to see broadcasters are going to have this team go, who are all these guys? Now that's going to be the norm as the season goes along, you would think.
Maybe as this game goes along,
yeah,
too.
Well, right. But we really did see a lot of these guys last year.
Michael Young grounded out his first time up, but moved the runner over when doing so. And he chops that one slowly up the third base line.
Yeah, he did what you expect him to do. Veteran player. Like Michael Young, that's give himself up, even though he's ahead in the count 3-1.
Where do you think he'll bat this year?
Well, he's a heck of a 2-hole hitter for a right-handed hitter because he hits the ball the other way so much.
0-2 the count to him. Ground ball right side. And with 1 away, Chase Utley, who has an RBI single, will get a chance to bat for the second time.
Here's Chase's first time up, just trying to make contact in the middle of the diamond with a runner at third and less than 2 outs, and he hits the ball right back through the middle and gets more out of it. A base hit and an RBI.
Chase played in the inter-squad game yesterday. The plan, according to Charlie Manuel earlier this week, was for Chase to play yesterday and today, and then take tomorrow off when the Phillies go to Lakeland to take on Justin Verlander and the Tigers.
Well, he doesn't necessarily want days off, but if you're going to take one, that's a good one. Face that guy in the second spring training game.
Charlie was excited to watch Chase the last couple of weeks down on the backfields and even here. Take batting practice, like the swing, like just having him around from the start of spring training.
Well, Utley has said, too, he wants to play some games down here. He wants to get at bats, get innings in, because he feels good.
We joked about the Fanatic not having an offseason. Chase had an offseason, but kept doing baseball things throughout the offseason, whether it be, you know, stretching his legs and going over his routine that he's picked up as the last year or so has unfolded, taking ground balls and taking some swings too. 1-2 the count. Fly ball, shallow center field. Maxwell coming in and makes the catch.
We had a hanger to hit that time.
There's no better way to celebrate the start of a new baseball season than with tickets for opening day. And the easiest way to get tickets for the Modell's Sporting Goods home opener is by considering an opening day 6-game pack. Order now at Phillies.com and plan to wave your Modell's Sporting Goods rally towel when the Phils host the Kansas City Royals on the 5th of April at 4:05. Two outs for Ryan Howard. He grounded out his only time up.
What an overshift this is. And way over the other way in left center field is Maxwell, and then the overshift on the right side for ground balls. Fly balls the other way, ground balls to the right side.
Ryan has said that one of his objectives this year, and it's the objective all the time, as you see that overshift, is to have better at-bats against left-handed pitchers.
Yep. Well, one of the ways to do that is to hit 2-0 and 3-1, or something that's in the zone early in the count. And no such thing as a good 0-2 hitter.
outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That's a pitch he'd really like to be able to stay off, especially from these frisbee throwers like this guy. Those left-handers that just work away with breaking balls.
Swing and a miss at a breaking pitch, and Howard is down on strikes. 1, 2, 3 go the Phillies here at the bottom of the 3rd. 3 in the books. We go to the 4th. It's a 1-run game. Top of the 4th inning, Phillies on top 2-1. B.J. Rosenberg getting set for his 2nd inning of work. There's Scott Sheridan, the Phillies athletic trainer. He's had a busy couple weeks already, getting the team prepared for the start of spring training.
Yeah, Scott, like he's a little sleepy too. Huh?
He did look a little sleepy. You know, it's warm out.
Oh, okay.
Sarge, and, you know, the temperature's about 80 degrees at this point in the day. You might want to take a nap or two from time to time.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
How you doing, by the way?
I'm doing just great.
You
How
look
about
great.
yourself? Yeah, I feel great. See, you got the same thing going. Scabs on top of the head.
I don't have
sunblock.
I have sunblock on today.
Yeah.
I do.
All right.
I had sunblock on yesterday. Murph was nice enough to give me some while we were watching the inter-squad game.
Brought you in a couple of hats just in case.
It's just not going to look good. There's a foul tip to start the 4th inning.
Okay.
Hats are your thing, Sarge.
It's for protection, Tom. Okay? Protection.
Right out of the chute, everybody. Right out of the chute. J.D. Martinez flied out to right his first time up. Had a fastball upstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike to Martinez.
We're going to have an interesting year. These Houston Astros moving over to a different league.
There's a liner to center field, a base hit. So a leadoff single here in the 4th inning. Well, Wheels was wondering if you had a chance to catch up with Bo Porter. He mentioned that earlier in the telecast.
Yeah, of course I did. That this kid, when he was with the Chicago Cubs, and was a promising prospect at the time.
Well, how do you think he's going to be as a manager?
Well, I think that he's going to get respect. There's no doubt about that. And with a young club and not having a veteran ball club, easier to get those guys to follow and to do what you need them to do.
Fryman takes a fastball upstairs. It's 1 ball and no strikes.
And he said simple. You don't hustle, you don't play. Might be the same thing, too. You don't hit, you're not going to play very much.
Grossman, who came on the pinch run, is often running there, and he's going to slide into second safely. So another stolen base for the Astros. Pete Orr received that throw at second base from Eric Kratz. Orr is taken over for Chase Utley here at the top of the 4th.
You know, those are some of the things, though, the Houston Astros, they're going to have to do. Run, kind of create situations. They don't have a really legit power hitter.
Part of the reason why they picked up Fryman in the Rule 5 draft and Carter from the Oakland A's and Carlos Pena through free agency was to try to find some pop that they can put in the middle of this lineup.
Now this Chris Carter, this kid could be pretty good. 16 home runs last year.
Whereas Fryman had 24 home runs in the minor leagues last season as he takes inside and low, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, the thing about Carter, only 67 at bats. That's pretty good there when you look at that production there with the 16 home runs. You project that out, and you're talking serious damage.
Hit hard through the hole left side and into left field, a base hit. The Astros will tie this up as it kicks off the leg of Darren Ruff. Going to second and stopping there is Fryman. And it's a 2-2 ball game. That ball took an odd hop over third, and then it got on top of Darren Ruff pretty quickly.
Well, that ball it's a fast infield, and once it gets out there, you really got to come in, just catch the ball. Not going to be able to throw the runner out there at home plate. So you just want to catch it, no further damage, keep the double play in order, and especially if you haven't been out there for a long period of time, and certainly Darren Ruff has not. You know, with those are easy bumps though, or grounders that are coming in. He should have been able to pick that out. It wasn't one of those really tough hops there. So if you stay in front of it, that's why you always hear coaches stay in front of it. Therefore, if it does take a little errant hop, hit you right in the body, the ball's still out in the front.
Outside and low, 1 ball and 1 strike to Dominguez. They've scored that a single E7, and they have given the RBI to Fryman. You figure that Grossman would have scored anyway.
Yeah, he was right. It's going to be a real good test, though, for the Fighting Fields in that outfield to be able to play adequate defense. And talking with Ruben yesterday, he feels that they can do just that. Meaning cut the balls over, throwing to the right bases. This is what some of the coaches are talking about that they want the players to do.
They also think that that guy right there, Dominic Brown, could evolve into the player they hoped for if given a chance to play right field. Now, Delman Young is also part of this Phillies roster. He's coming back from ankle surgery. It sounded as if, just from talking yesterday with Ruben Amaro and Charlie Manuel, that Delman is coming along a little quicker than they had thought, that he could possibly get back on the field sometime in the middle of March, which is a good thing.
Yeah, he needs to get that arm strong, start throwing. And probably those are some of the things you can still do, though, to be able to throw.
Popped up around home plate. Kratz doesn't know where it is, finally reacts and makes a nice catch. 1 away. Speaking of outfielders, we talked earlier to Darren Ruff about getting those reps in left field.
I just try to go out there and improve every day. If it's focusing on one thing that day, or if it's just taking, you know, the broad approach on, you know, trying to get a whole bunch of things accomplished in the day is where I'm at. You know, trying to get my footwork down, positioning. There's a little bit more than just catching the ball that goes into playing the position. So, you know, obviously you got to start with catching the ball, having good routes, things like that. But you know, getting out there, getting in the games, you know, that's one of the things that was valuable from winter ball is I got to have a lot of game experience, and obviously that's where you know, learn the most and make the most improvements from.
Yeah, I like that game experience. The other thing he wants to do, anticipate that ball coming to you.
That ball's hooked to right field. It'll drop for a base hit. Rounding third and heading home is Fryman, and the Astros will take the lead 3-2.
That's what I'm talking about, being able to throw that ball on in the second base there. That is for sure. But again, anticipating the ball. A young player coming out there. I played right field and then switched over to left. It's a difficult field to play. I switched over simply because of Bobby Bonds. And learning that position, yeah, you can work on your footwork, but anticipating the ball coming to you, just about every single play, that will make you get good jumps when you're anticipating. If you don't, you're going to have a rough time, because in left field, that ball really gets on you in a hurry.
On the flip side, Delman Young, who is going to have a chance to play right field for the Phillies eventually, he's excited about the prospect of moving back to right field from left field.
For the same reason. That ball getting to you very quickly. Right field, you have a longer run, easier, I thought, to catch the ball, because a lot of times the right-handers that hit the ball comes back to you, as opposed to in left field, that ball is sinking and rising over your head.
Crow dribbles one up the first base line, and Ryan Howard will make the tag. So 2 outs as the runner moves up to second. Carlos Corcoran moves into scoring position. And back to the top of the order. Tyler Green will bat for the third time. Well, watching the Phillies the last 10 days or so in the backfields at the Carpenter Complex, where there are a handful of different fields. You know, you had one group taking infield, outfield on one field with 2 different players in left. John Mayberry was in left, Lance Nix was in left, and on the other field was Darren Ruff, all by himself in left field. So he was getting more reps, and it was through all that work and his work during winter ball that led them to feel confident that he could do this in the big leagues.
I got to tell you what, I think that he can. Not only that, I feel he can be able to play on a daily basis in the major leagues. I say that because when you come out of Double-A and the year that he had, you can play. Now, you incorporate that and going to winter ball and doing what he did, 10, 11 home runs, he's ready for me.
Tyler Green takes upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes to him.
And you're facing major league pitching, by the way, when you're in Venezuela. Not only that, guys that are very wild. So imagine trying to stay in there with a guy throwing 97, 98, and he not knowing where it's going. Well, you kind of welcome this, being able to play somebody than your own teammates. You're looking at them for sure.
Rounder left side. Betancourt surrounds it and has a good strong arm to finish up the 4th inning. The Astros do score 2. They take the lead. Bottom of the 4th inning. Astros 3, Phillies 2. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by Citizens Bank, where good banking is good citizenship. Isn't it time you experienced good banking? Astros take the lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Some changes for the Astros. Former Phil prospect Jonathan VR takes over at shortstop. And Robbie Grossman stays in the ball game to play left field. Grossman came on a pinch run for J.D. Martinez. And a new pitcher for the Astros. It's right-hander Sam Demmel, who takes over for Xavier Cedeno. Cedeno worked a 1-2-3 3rd inning. And now it'll be Ruff, Brown, and Lance Nix getting their second opportunities to bat in today's ball game. Demmel last year 0-1 out of the bullpen for the Astros with a 9 earned run average. Just that one inning, they had so many different players that they used last year, and it was partly because they lost 107 games, Sarge.
Well, when you're losing that many games, time to make a change. They do have quite a few younger players on the team. Good opportunity, however, for anyone in the Houston Astros organization, especially if you're in Double-A. You see Doc signing autographs there.
Doc will throw tomorrow when the Phillies head to Lakeland to take on the Tigers. And a lot of folks are very excited the way he's thrown so far away from the big field. I think everybody's excited to see him throw tomorrow against Justin Verlander. And the Phillies are back home on Monday afternoon. That game is at 1 o'clock against the Tigers on the Comcast network. And Tuesday, home again. Cliff Lee is scheduled to pitch Monday for the Phillies. As Darren Ruff takes inside, it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's why so much optimism on fighting Fields, making another run at the division, just because of the starting pitching. And a little bit more enthusiasm, I think, this year in spring training so far.
2-1 the count. I've talked to folks about being down here for the last several days, and I tell you, they've laughed a lot more this spring. Wouldn't you agree than let's say last year?
When you look at their coaches, from Ryan Sandberg, Juan Samuels had great success in the major leagues. You incorporate that there with Charlie, already there. Now Wally Joyner, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to him at all.
I have.
What a tremendous athlete and hitter that he was. And then you have Steve Henderson, who actually runs everything from that right side. I think it's easier. It's going to be easier for these guys to be able to get the work that they need to get. And let's see if some of those guys can get changed around.
That ball's on the thumbs of Darren Ruff, and VR makes the catch for the first out here in the bottom of the 4th.
Little snow cone there.
Well, one away, Dominic Brown, who singled and scored his first time up. Look at a second chance now to hit.
Back in the day when you were going to spring training and you had Mays and Jim Ray Hart, those guys, that's when they would actually go and play almost 7-8 innings. You'd be lucky a lot of times to go in and get defense. One of the reasons why Dusty Baker, manager of the Cincinnati Reds, when he takes a young player, he takes them and he plays them, because that's what happened to us. I mean, you imagine Hank Aaron says, hey, I want to hit again. It's not going to be Dusty Baker. Mays said, hey, I need one more swing. Certainly, that was a different nickname then, but Gary Matthews is not going to be hitting in front of Willie Mays.
Fly ball center field. Justin Maxwell is out there. And there are 2 outs. And Lance Nix will step to the plate. He walked his first time up.
Well, everybody, though, if you're on that 40-man, especially if you're a prospect, they're going to want to take a look at you, and they're going to take a long look at the outfielders, and it should be one heck of a contest to see who comes out of that for sure.
Games are important, but the work away from the games will lend itself to making that decision too.
Lend itself for that, being able to play good defense. You can't have good pitching without having good defense. Guys are going to have to catch the ball, throw to the right bases. This kind of a pitching staff, you keep the double play in order, Not going to throw out a lot of guys at home plate, so you got to keep that double play in order with this pitching staff.
Nix takes low, 1 ball and 1 strike to him.
Hear a lot of the guys on the team talking about leadership or leaders. It's simple. You gotta do that job. You almost got to be a guy for me that plays every day. Don't have to be vocal. Sure, better get some clutch hits though.
Well, earlier this week, Jonathan Papelbon talked about leadership and said that there wasn't a lot of leadership last year, and I agree with him that because there were so many changes, and he basically clarified his comments a day later, saying that leadership and goes hand in hand with identity, that there wasn't an identity. And I thought because of the injuries, it took the Phillies a long time to try to find any kind of identity last year.
Yeah, well, for me, it's plain and simple. We've seen him do it before. I think it should be, Jimmy Rollins, but it's something that you have to embrace. You want that. You want the club to really count on you. That year he was MVP. Let's face it. He really almost took that, not the whole league by storm, but certainly there for a lot of guys or newspaper people that were voting for him. Boy, he turned it on. Triples, home runs, clutch hitting, good defense. A lot of ways to win the ball game, not just getting a hit. And again, this is going to be some of the ways where the fighting feels this way. And winning defensively, they got to score some runs, but more so the timely hitting. And when you get that runner on third base, this club, you're going to have to be able to get them in.
Well, twice they've been able to get runners in scoring position and score them today. Overall, they've had 3 runners in scoring position. Now they have a base runner with 2 outs, and Yuniesky Betancourt, who has an RBI, is at the plate. Demo last year pitched in the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. 56 games as a reliever in AAA. Was 1-4 with an ERA of 4.07. He was claimed off waivers by the Astros back in November of last year. Swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Betancourt.
That's the pitch that's going to get most of the hitters. Any off-speed pitch that a good one with good arm motion will make it difficult early on for the hitters. That's because they don't have their timing. Once they get their timing, they'll do a little better with that pitch. It's going to take them a week or so to get that done. Charlie kind of talked about that at the cage today. No jealousy. A lot of hitting coaches on this team this year, from Sandberg, again, Juan Samuel. Those players say you're pulling off the ball or you're not doing the right thing. You're going to listen.
One and 2 the count to Betancourt. Steve Henderson, been with the Phillies organization the last several years, now with the big club.
Just keeping counts of different pitches, what you might swing at, 2-2, 3-2, etc.
Up high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I like this guy, Betancourt. I like him a lot. He's going to bring a lot to this club. He plays good defense, pretty good eye at the plate. Not really big in stature, but he can pick it. He can play shortstop.
Swing and a miss. He's down on strikes, and the Phillies are retired here in the 4th. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. When we come back, we're going to talk about dual hitting coaches. It's become a priority in Major League Baseball. Well, it's a nice day to kick off the 2013 spring schedule here at Bright House Field as the Astros have a 3-2 lead over the Phillies as we go to the top of the 5th inning. I know coming down here, I had to go back to do a basketball game this past week. Coming down here, folks were anticipating a chance to get out to the ballpark. Sarge, we mentioned teams with 2 hitting coaches. The Phillies aren't alone. Look at all these teams now in Major League Baseball that have added a second hitting coach. And a lot of that has happened just this offseason.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think it's a good thing. You'll have more eyes on a particular hitter. And not only that, you have a right-handed hitter, a left-handed hitter. There's some things that from the left side, and you see Michael Jack there. There's Wally Joyner there on your right. Those guys can see different things, even though the approach might be a little bit different from the left side. Wally Joyner there on your left, excuse me. There's Michael Jack on your right. And believe me, they're talking hitting, and nobody talks it like Michael Jack. It's just difficult at times to understand him with his philosophy. But the fact is, you really keep it simple. One from the left, one from the right. You can kind of get together as the hitting coaches and decide what you want to do to a particular individual. Therefore, should be able to come out of a slump even a lot quicker. And I like it. I like it as a good thing because you really do need more help with all the different programs, the soft tossing, the computers, and so on. I think it's a good thing for sure.
Well, Wally Joyner, who's to the left there with the sunglasses on, closest to the water cooler, also was an outstanding defensive first baseman. And I think he can also help from that standpoint with a guy like Ryan Howard because he was a left-handed fielder. Steve Henderson, an outfielder, and of course Michael Jack Schmidt without the mustache. That was a big part of the story this past week. Getting a chance to be part of spring training for these last few days. Zach Miner is the new pitcher for the Phillies. He takes over for B.J. Rosenberg, who went 2 innings, allowed 3 runs.
See, with those Cubs having 2 hitting coaches, even when I was there, we had 2. Gene Klein, the first base coach, was actually the hitting coach along with me there. I was the one that was actually in control. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, when you're getting where there's somebody has to take the blame, somebody's going to have to take the blame. So,
and Gene did not take the blame.
Well, no, but he did have Sammy Sosa because his program was when he came, all the other hitters had to stop and let him get into the batter's box. So I switched that up, and he told me, hey, I'm not going to need you. I'm going to use Gene Klein. Well, as long as Gene could get him to hit, I really didn't care. He didn't need me until that bat exploded and all those corks and everything were out there in the field. That's when he wanted to talk back with me. Okay.
2-1 the count to Marwin Gonzalez. Fly ball shallow left, and Ruff took a step back and then comes in and plays that on a hop.
Great call on that, and that's being gun shy when you're in that left field. Really got to read it. That's what I was talking about earlier, anticipating the ball. Therefore, you're not surprised when it comes out there. You'll get a better jump. When you're not a fast runner, the first thing you want to do is take that step back. And usually, any ball in front of you is going to be very difficult to recover.
So a runner aboard here in the top of the 5th inning. It's 3-2 Astros on top. Justin Maxwell will be the hitter.
Oh.
Brandon Barnes is the pinch runner for the Astros, and he was nearly picked off. Barnes pinch running for Marwin Gonzalez.
Now they had quick feet. You can see he was going. And Bo Jackson has sent his runners early in the count. Last 2 runners that they end up stealing a base. He's going to have to be very aggressive with this ball club. Still, as a manager, you don't want to run yourself out of the ball games or out of innings.
Fly ball right field. Dominic Brown is there. And 1 away as Barnes goes back to first. Chris Carter will bat for the 3rd time. Zach Miner was last in the big leagues back in 2009 when he was with the Detroit Tigers. He underwent Tommy John surgery in 2010 and has since spent time in the Royals organization and back with the Detroit Tigers, where he was traded to a season ago from Kansas City. His numbers while he was in the big leagues, they weren't too bad. Overall, he has won 25 games as a big league pitcher. Back in 2009, when he appeared in 51 games, he was 7-5 with an earned run average of 4.29. Carter takes low, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Minor won 7 games with the Tigers in 06, 3 games in 07, 8 games in 2008, and then the 7 games in 2009. Toward left field, not hit that hard, and Ruff will play it on 1 hop. Barnes stops at second. And runners on first and second with 1 man down. Not much that Darren Ruff or anybody could do on that one.
Not that particular ball. That's going to be a base hit. Doesn't break back the very first base hit. He had a chance maybe to come in to catch that one. You know, just by playing out there day in and day out, you're going to get better. And he's a good athlete. And the thing I like about Darren Ruff, has a lot of pride. You get those guys that have a lot of pride. I mean, they can overcome deficiencies in terms of speed, or really maybe not getting a great jump at it. And I feel very confident that he will hit.
Robbie Grossman bats for the first time as Jake Elmore pinch runs over at first for Chris Carter. 3-2 Astros on top. Phillies took an early 2-0 lead after the second. The Astros scored 1 in the third and 2 in the fourth. On the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Thought Cole looked pretty good with his pitches. You know, coming over the top, throwing freely. That's what you like. He's certainly has gotten a lot of confidence over the years. And you can tell just by the way he just carries himself, and very sure about what he wants to do.
Back toward the middle, a base hit. Rounding third, heading for home is Barnes. It's bobbled by Revere. Going to third is Elmore. And on the second base is Grossman. And the Astros now lead it by 2.
That should never happen.
Hey, you figure the run was going to score from second. But the runner is going up a base to third and to second. Shouldn't have happened.
That's a good point. I mean, you just, again, when the runner's on that second, that ball, ground ball, center field, you just got to go in and really catch that ball. You see, now he's flat-footed, too, back there. You want to catch that ball out in front. You catch the ball, nobody's going anywhere. Now you've created a situation there with 1 out. You got to play your infield in, and you're not going to be afford to be giving up runs like that during the course of the season. But first game of spring training, everybody has a few jitters.
Ben Revere was kind of shaking his head a little bit. He knew that he misplayed that. And then that bright smile, which we've gotten to get used to over the last 2 weeks or so. 0-1 the count to Nate Fryman. Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
These situations just put a little bit more pressure on the infield, obviously, to catch the ball. And not only that, for the pitcher to make a quality pitch.
Inside, 2-1.
Pretty good movement on that fastball. Really looking for a pop-up or a strikeout. In this situation, always when you have that infield in. This show's got a little different uniform this year. Is that the throwback uniform they have that Jimmy Wynn used to wear back in the day?
I think there was some similarities to it. Nice play by Betancourt. Stumbles getting to his feet. Gets the runner at first. A run does score. But that is a fine defensive play.
Oh, this guy can pick it. Get ready for that. He can catch the ball. That's being very quick, getting up and gathering himself. Take a look at it as he gets up. That ball, good pitch, however, as it jams him. It almost gets impeded there by being able to look at that ball and throws a good arm. That's just about a 7 arm. That's about as good as it gets. 8 would be the quality arm, and that would be the best, more of an all-star like arm that we talk about when we're talking numbers. 5 is average.
Well, it's 5-2. Astros on top. And Matt Dominguez, the batter, with a runner at second. Dominguez is 0 for 2. Pretty healthy swing at a breaking pitch from Minor. It's 0-1. Phillies have added a number of pieces to their depth this offseason when it comes to the pitching staff, not only starters but also relievers. And Minor's part of that. He has a chance to make the club probably as a long man in one capacity or another. But because the Phillies struggled so much last year, they got a chance to use a number of guys a season ago, including the guy that's warming up right now, Jeremy Horst. Outside and high, 2-1 the count.
And that has helped them because you've been able to see them. You know what kind of pitcher they are. You've seen them throw. And easier to help those kind of guys when you've seen them. You got a game plan that you've thought about just about all winter long.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's a good pitch.
Popped him up. Ryan Howard over at first base. 2 runs scored for the Astros. Their lead is up to 3. We played 4.5 here in Clearwater. Bottom of the 5th inning, 5-2 Astros on top of the Phillies. New pitcher on the mound for the Houston Astros. You see the particulars about Bright House Field here in Clearwater, Florida. It is a gorgeous place to watch a baseball game. Ground broke in October of 2002. The first game was against the Yankees back in 2004. And this place is run on a daily basis by John Timberlake, who we've become so familiar with here in Clearwater. And he is downstairs with Greg Murphy. Murph?
No doubt about it, T-Mac. And what a beautiful place it is. 10 years now here at Bright House Field, but 67 years in Clearwater, Florida, John. And the relationship between this city and this ball club really is something special.
It is something special. We talk about it all the time, and our relationship with the city is as good as it gets when it comes to a team and their organization. But, yeah, we're in our 10th season this year at Bright House Field, which is just very hard to imagine.
You know, you look around this ballpark, and it looks like like it was built yesterday. And obviously, there's a little bit of bias here, but down here in Florida in the Grapefruit League, it really doesn't get any better than what you have right here.
Well, obviously we're very proud of it, Murph. It's a great facility. We hear it all the time, and I guess the ultimate compliment is when other people are looking at building or expansion, and they all want to see your park, and they've all heard good things about it. But I think we achieved our goals in creating just a fan-friendly atmosphere and a place where you can have a lot of fun at a game.
You mentioned fan-friendly. You mentioned fun. We just took a look at the Tiki Bar, which is a lot of fun for folks like us, and also the playground, which is great for the kids. Just so much to do here in addition to the ballpark. And we should remind folks that when the Phils leave here, this place doesn't close down. Of course, it's the home of the Clearwater Threshers.
Correct. We've we did real well in the Florida State League with the Threshers, and obviously it's a Phillies team and owned by the Phillies, but we're proud of the Threshers as well, and we get a real good support from our community and generally lead our league in attendance and those kind of things.
I know this is the time of year when it gets very busy for you and your team, but as you look around the ballpark and you see the Phillies fans here and you see the big club here, it's just another great start to another great season. I'm sure that's the way you look at it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a fun time of year, and sure, the preparation that goes into it for us is pretty painstaking at times, and it gets here quickly. We don't have quite the time of preparation that other minor league clubs get, unless they're host a spring training team. But let's face it, it's a great time of year. Everybody looks forward to it, and it's one of the reasons we're here to do what we do.
Well, John, we appreciate you doing what you do. You do a great job. Your entire team does as well. Guys, we'll send it back upstairs to you.
All right, Murph. Thank you very much. Sarge, you would have loved to have played here at this facility instead of Jack Russell when you remember the Phillies.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's just a great facility to play in, and it's such a great stadium. As a player, you may not, wow, that's a rocket. May not want to go to Double-A. It's so
well,
nice.
don't forget, Double-A is Reading.
I'm telling you, well, you're
and
right.
then Lehigh Valley Triple-A. So I think what it tells you is that through the system, Lakewood, Clearwater, Reading, Lehigh Valley, even Williamsport down in rookie ball, it's a nice organization to ascend up the ladder.
Well, I got to tell you, there's some ballparks I played in Amarillo, even though it's a good town, good cow town.
Good cow town?
Well, hey.
As far as cow towns go.
They used to say all the time that that's a lot of good money you're smelling around here, they'd say to me.
Ben Revere tries to bunt his way on against Jared Cozart, the former Philly prospect.
But it was just so hot and humid there. You made sure that you end up playing well where you didn't have to repeat yourself in that league.
Well, 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the 5th for Charlie Manuel's team. Jared Cozart, who last year was 6-7 with an ERA of 3.5 in 21 games in Double-A and Triple-A. Former 38th round pick by the Phillies. Phillies did not want to let him go. He was in the Hunter Pence trade. There's no radar gun, but Cozart will throw in the 90s. And there's a pretty good chance that he'll find his way to Houston at some point during the 2013 season.
Well, they're looking for hard throwers, more so good athletes and young athletes.
Check swing by Michael Young. It's going to turn out to be an easy inning for Cozart. Phillies go down very quietly in their half of the 5th. A couple of ground outs and 1 line out to start the inning. We've played 5. Spring training game number 1 for the Phils. Phillies will start a 3-game series against the New York Mets. McDonald's opening week T-shirt for fans 15 and over during that Monday game. Tuesday the 9th is our first Hatfield Dollar Dog Night of the year. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. That is a great T-shirt if you've been out to the ballpark at the beginning of seasons the last handful of years. You've got a chance to get that T-shirt thanks to the folks at McDonald's. Little autograph signing by Chase Utley and Carlos Ruiz. Chase's day is done. The day is just beginning, though, for Ender Inciarte. Rule 5 selection by the Phillies this past offseason. Cody Ashe, what a year he had a season ago in the Phils minor leagues. He takes over at third. And Pete Orr, who came on an inning ago for Chase Utley at second base, settles back in. And a new catcher. It's Humberto Quintero, the former Astro, who is going to catch the tosses of left-hander Jeremy Horst, who, Sarge, I thought had an under-the-radar effective year in 2012.
Well, you know what, too, and this is one of the reasons that he would be here. And you're going to look at him as he's going to be a lot more comfortable. Charlie talked about it. Those left-handed pitchers, boy, there will be a fight again for that. And good competition for me makes even a better team. Then you know if they go to the minor leagues that you have somebody there that if it doesn't go right, that they're going to get their turn. So more strikes, more hitters you get out, better it's going to be for you.
Jose Martinez dumps one into left field for a leadoff single.
There's some of that Bo Porter managing. You can see those runners when they get a hit, they go around first base very aggressively, looking for a little miscue. Therefore, you don't have to restart your engine.
Trevor Crowe is 1 for 2. He doubled and scored in the third, grounded out to first in the fourth. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 0-1. Crowe will be followed by Jonathan Villar, who's in the on-deck circle. He's late on that fastball, and it's 0-2.
Gets on you pretty quick. Those first few games are always tough. I've always felt more so for the hitters. Pitchers have been down here. They get in their arms in good shape. More importantly, a lot of them are able to hit their spots with some of the pitches.
I noticed that last week on the backfields when the pitchers were throwing their first live batting practice. Just how the ball was just jumping on the hitters.
And they take pride in getting in on your thumbs. At least that's the way Rick Sutcliffe used to like to throw your BP. I think they forget and realize that, hey, that's supposed to be for the hitter too. I think it's just for the pitchers and having bragging rights.
0-1 the count to Crowe. There goes the runner. Pitch is popped up right around the mound. Horst is there or makes the call. And back to first goes the base runner. And that'll bring Jonathan Villar to the plate. One thing that stood out the first time that pitchers threw live batting practice, you and I were both around the cage while Cole Hamels threw.
Yep.
And Cole, who was very good today, 2 scoreless innings, and really was hitting his spots, as you mentioned. Fastball was good, threw a couple of cutters, threw a couple change-ups. That day, with all the fastballs he was throwing and a couple of the cutters, the ball was really moving and jumping out of his hand. And Jimmy Rollins, who was facing Cole Hamels, said he had never, ever faced Cole in live BP or in any kind of capacity, and was really impressed with how the ball got on you fast from his vantage point.
Yeah, and interesting because he plays shortstop. He should even be able to see it. But it just goes to show you when you're having batting practice or hitting against that pitcher that you get a very different perspective in terms of how the ball is moving, jumping on you, just like he said, and probably was saying to himself, hey, he's a little tougher than I thought to try and hit.
Ground ball to shortstop. And Betancourt the flip for one. And in time for the double play. 6-4-3. Nice turn all the way around by Betancourt and Pete Orr to retire Jonathan Villar on the back end. 5.5 here in Clearwater. Up to the bottom of the 5th inning. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. As spring training moves on, that berm out in the outfield, which is the same kind of berm that if you go to Lakewood to watch the Blue Claws that you'll find. There's also a portion of that at Lehigh Valley where the Iron Pigs play. But that berm, on many days during spring training, there is not a spot of grass to be seen. Today there's some spots out there, no question about that, as Ben Revere and Michael Young signed some autographs going up the left field line. Talked to Ben today. I said, so how many more followers did you get when the Phillies acquired you from the Twins and with your Twitter account? He said, it has to be about 15,000 more. He said that that normally he'll send something out in the morning and he gets more of a response now than he ever did when he was with the Twins. And he said, like tonight I'll start tweeting about the Kentucky basketball game. He goes, and wait till you see all the responses I get, because he's a big Kentucky fan. Pete Orr, chopper to second.
Can't really tell at this particular point exactly what kind of hitter he's going to be. Do know one thing though, on that bunt, you really want to go for the lines or to third base, especially early. You know, again, you got to let him see what kind of hitter he's going to be. Line drive hitter, we know he has speed. He's going to need that in center field no matter who plays at left or right. But he's going to be the catalyst. He's going to be the one that, and Charlie's going to change him from time to time. He's already mentioned that. J-Roll would lead off some, and then Ben probably would hit second, and then vice versa.
You think there's a chance he bats 8th and Michael Young bats 2nd?
Wow. He's going to have to be in one heck of a slump if that's happening, because you want that speed and to be able to score runs. So you want him up as many times as possible. And for that to happen, he's got to hit early in the lineup. But like Charlie says, the guys will dictate where they hit by the way they hit during spring training.
1 ball, 1 strike the count to Ryan Howard. Ryan 0 for 2. He's grounded out. He has struck out so far. Up high, 2-1 the count. Howard will be followed by Darren Ruff, who's in the on-deck circle.
Charlie talked about playing Howard more, trying to get him into a groove and basically to stay there, instead of maybe starting off slow at the beginning of the season. going to try something a little different, play him a lot more.
On the outside corner. Well, that was an impressive fastball by Cozart. I know that Ryan thought it maybe was a little low, maybe a little outside.
Well, when you throw that hard and you actually blink, you don't even see it. You can see the movement, and I mean, it might have been off just a shade, but too close to take. He's upset about that. You heard a hitter should be taking fastballs. There's another one.
So Ryan, 3 at-bats in his day may or may not be done. So some of the players coming in from the outfield that might take over as Ruff lines one to center. Cozart, 6 batters up, 6 batters down for the former Phil prospect. We've completed 6 here in Clearwater. Some of the fans here at Bright House Field enjoying the afternoon. Got a baseball, maybe an autograph from a guy like Ben Revere, who's down on the field with Craig Murphy. Murph?
Yeah, it's very possible because Ben sat here and signed probably about 50 autographs as he came off the field. And we welcome in Ben Revere, one of the new Phils, and, you know, just settling in and getting ready for a new season, but also, you know, kind of getting your feet wet with a new ball club as well. How's it been so far?
That was pretty good. You know, I wish I could take back the last ground ball to me. But, no, it's just, getting back in field is a thing. You know, it's a long season, so, you know, spring training's practice, and, it's just kind of get our timing back, this and that, just take an easy step, get ready for the season. So, no, it's just, it's good. No, it's fun. You know, everybody's out here, you know, sure as it's on. So, it's on one of the many, but, no, we're gonna get better here down the road, though.
Yeah, Tom just mentioned as you came off the field a chance to, connect with the fans. And obviously you guys are getting ready for baseball as this is one that's hit deep, and that ball is gone up over the fence. The wind, we were just talking about the wind blowing out of here, and that one probably rode the wind a little bit. But, you know, learning a new ball field as well is part of spring training and you know, something that you all have to do, right? Yeah,
you know, it's just you got to learn a little bit. It's just how the grass, control the ground balls in the outfield. You know, some be good, some was stinky, you know, like the last one, and it got me pretty good. It got me pretty good, but no, some of the guys said it does. But yeah, you just got to learn. That's what you got to learn some of the stuff, and where how deep the ballpark is. You know, where the wind's blowing usually, and usually I get that stuff, but the type of deal, yeah, this is the process of learning it quick. So it's like you playing every day, so you got to learn it quick. And usually we got the coaching staff to help us do that. You know, you're also learning the fan base. It's a passionate fan base in Philly. I know you have already developed a great relationship with a lot of fans via social media. Is that what they can expect throughout the season? As a guy that they can really connect with, because Philly fans love that stuff. Yeah, you know, I like to interact with the fans a little bit. You know, it's just you can make anybody's day just by retweet or reply anything, or make somebody laugh. that if you want to. You know, it's just that's the type of person I am. But no, these Phillies fans are great. I say they're the best in Major League Baseball. You know, I've been hearing so much about them all my baseball career. So it's just be able to play for them. No, it's going to be a really fun season.
All right. Well, we certainly are looking forward to watching you play as well. Ben Revere, one of the new Phils, joining us here. Welcome to Clearwater. Welcome to Philadelphia. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph. Thank you very much. Ben Revere, who did not make one error last year in the outfield, not one. And you can hear by the tone of his voice and his answers how much it bothered him that he made an error early in this game.
Talking about the ball snaking out there. Sarge talks about that all the time as an outfielder. And grass surfaces are different in different fields, the way they cut it and all that. And sometimes you just have to go out there and take ground balls and get used to it. And you can see that thing really played him. Too bad he doesn't have a better personality. Jesus,
it's a great asset to have in the clubhouse. Jake Elmore, the batter. Elmore came out as a pinch runner his last and scored in the 5th inning. So far, we've had a home run by Brandon Barnes in this inning to make it 6-2. And then that was followed by a base hit. And now we have Elmore at the plate with a runner at first and nobody out. Kevin Franzen is the new first baseman for the Phillies. There's Kevin.
And like in spring training, he's one of those guys who will play all over the place. They bring a lot of different gloves and trying to show their versatility to make the ball club and so you can use them in all kinds of different positions and not worry about it.
Now that probably will be his role this year, Bills. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Best position is probably second. Did a real good job playing third base when they needed him last year.
You want to talk about a great guy too. Great guy to have around.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, and he's another high energy guy.
3-1 the count to Elmore. Fly ball center field. Enciarte is there, shading from the sun. And there's the first out. There are 17 and 14 game ticket plans that are now available. All plans feature great benefits, including ticket discounts and postseason options. Great way to enjoy Phils baseball and terrific promotions throughout the year. Check out Phillies.com for all of your needs, ticketing, or to buy some merchandise. Get yourself ready for the upcoming season, which is going to be here faster than you think, although there are more games down here in Florida than usual because of the World Baseball Classic, which will get underway very shortly.
Yeah, it's an extra week this year. Because of the uneven teams in Florida, too, you have to have a split squad game almost every day. So teams early in spring training, it's tough to start this early, and the players can't play that long. Pitchers can't go that long. So you need more guys.
Grossman hits it back to the box. Nice feed by Jeremy Horst, and that helps the Phils turn a double play to wrap up a second consecutive inning. Some bright spots so far this afternoon for the Phillies. One of the brightest things is that baseball is back. Phillies do trail at 6-2 as we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. But we did see Cole Hamels, 2 very effective innings. Wheels, the Dangle hats are back again.
How about that? They're all over the country.
They are all over the country. Cole Hamels had an outstanding 2 innings today for the Phillies. The Phillies offense produced a couple of early runs by running the bases very well. And now as we go to the back end of this game, there are no starters left in the ball game for the Astros. The new pitcher is left-hander Brett Oberholzer. He'll take over for Jared Cozart, who we knew had a very good arm, and he certainly showed it in his 2 innings of relief for Houston.
Yeah, there's no surprise. You know, the Phillies, when they traded Jared Cozart, thought, well, we got a good pitcher here.
Thank you.
They got Hunter Pence, and that's exactly what they wanted at the time, and you can't look back on those. Singleton, too, is another good player in that deal who's suspended right now. But those 2 guys could be good big league players, no doubt about it.
Oberholzer falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Oberholzer lives in St. George's, Delaware. And last year in AA and AAA, he won 10 games combined. He lost 10 and started 28 different games.
Formerly the Braves organization, and was involved in that Michael Bourne deal.
That ball splashed down into somebody's beverage by Dominic Brown, about 5 rows into the seats down the left field line.
And they lost that beverage. Hopefully they got the baseball. They're laughing about it.
Here we
Watch
go.
This. That looked like the sight you don't want to see your golf ball make.
Oh, man. Wow. 2-2 the count to Dominic Brown. Oberholzer went to William Penn High School in Newcastle. He attended Seminole Community College, and that's when the Braves selected him in the 8th round of the 2008 draft. As Wheels mentioned, he was acquired by Houston in the Michael Bourne trade.
It's like Tom Browning.
Does look like Tom Browning, formerly of the Reds.
I mean, facially a left-hander.
Out to left field, Grossman is waiting. And it's 8 in a row retired by Astros pitching. On 1 away, Joe Mather will come off the bench to pinch hit for Lance Nix. Speaking of former Braves, the veteran Joe Mather.
Cardinals. Big right-handed hitter with a lot of power, but a guy that's had some holes in his swing throughout his career, and really has not been able to catch on as an everyday player, and he can launch them.
Oberholzer at one point was the number 9 prospect in the Atlanta Braves organization. Mostly a starting pitcher during his career. Has made some relief appearances. But since the Astros picked him up, he's been nothing but a starting pitcher. Towering fly ball. That's what Wheels is saying. I mean, he can send him out there. That'll stay in the yard as Barnes tracks it down at the warning track.
He's always been kind of an uppercut type hitter like that.
No, that was an uppercut.
He hit some big league fly balls.
They had 2 away. And that'll bring Yuniesky Betancourt to the plate.
See right there? Uppercut way up in the air. Looks like a low ball hitter for a right-handed hitter, too.
Change up for a strike, 0-1. Betancourt today is 1 for 2 with an RBI single. RBI back in the 2nd. That ball is ripped into the Phillies picnic area down the left field line. I saw some folks scattering down there in foul territory.
That's a good one to pick up when it stops rolling.
Off the hands of Bloop, back a second. VR can't get to it. And Betancourt has the second hit of the day.
That was a wind-blown single, right?
Just kept on going.
Oh, yeah, just kept going. Like a lot of those parachutes that were going out towards left field that the Astros were hitting in those couple innings.
Well, Betancourt has 2 hits today. Betancourt's going to get a lot of opportunities to play shortstop once Jimmy Rollins leaves officially for the World Baseball Classic. And then, of course, Jimmy will get a lot of opportunities to play shortstop for the United States, because they don't really have an everyday shortstop besides Rollins. I mean, they have Willie Bloomquist, but not a surefire shortstop.
Harry Ball was really involved in getting Jimmy to go to play on that team too. He's a coach with Joe Torre. He's going to be his bench coach, and he went back and forth with Jimmy on that about how much they would like him to play on that team if he wanted to do it, and it worked out.
1-1 the count to Humberto Quintero, former Astro.
This guy's always been a really good catcher who could throw. Not much of an offensive player. Could be the backup catcher at the start of the season with the suspension of Carlos Ruiz.
Over toward first and handcuffed by Laird, but he's able to make the play. Phillies do get a hit in the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Yuniesky Betancourt says game over as we go to the 8th. The line score for today's ball game, the Phillies jumped out to a 2-0 lead, but since that time it's been all Houston Astros as we go to the top of the 8th inning. And John Mayberry checks in for the first time for the Phillies. He's in right field for Dominic Brown. Michael Martinez takes over at shortstop for Yuniesky Betancourt. The new pitcher is right-hander Justin DeFreitas. Old number 79, Justin DeFreitas, who takes over for Jeremy Horst. Horst went 2 innings. He allowed a run on 3 hits. And DeFreitas, who battled arm problems for a lot of last year, has a clean slate to begin 2013. I know he's excited about it. And talking to Ruben Amaro and Charlie Manuel yesterday, apparently he's been throwing the ball quite well. He looked good on the backfields when I saw him, Wheels, but in their eyes, he's been throwing the ball well.
Yeah, and your point about him being feeling good about himself is right on. Having been around him a little bit this spring, he has a different attitude this year. There's something about a player when they come to spring training and they're healthy, and they know they could do the things they're capable of doing, or at least give it a shot. And he certainly feels that way right from the get-go this year. Last year he couldn't.
They finished up the year with the Phillies at the big club, and he'll face Mark Krause to lead things off. Krause up for the first time for the Astros. In case you're wondering, it'll be Krause, who will be followed by Rene Garcia, who's the new catcher He's been in for a couple of innings. Up high, 1 ball and 1 strike. Krause last year combined for 20 home runs in the minor leagues. The big guy, 6'2", 234 pounds. The single season home run record holder. Where, Wheels? Ohio University.
Ohio University. Mike Schmidt had a few good years there.
Yeah, he had 27 home runs in 1 season for Ohio University. Outside, ball 3, 3-2.
Bobcats, I think they.
I believe you. I'm very proud of you, Wills.
Is that right?
You are absolutely right.
Every once in a while, you know. They're in the MAC, aren't they?
You are correct. Yeah. They must have played Penn State at some point.
Huh.
Frank Solich, the head coach of the football team.
He had to get to that, didn't he?
3-2 the count.
Bill O'Brien will never forget that first game.
Well,
Frank Solich,
yep,
coach there. He was at Nebraska for a number of years.
3-2 the count. Outside, ball 4. So leadoff walk. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Xfinity, the official HD triple play provider of your Philadelphia Phillies. Rene Garcia, the batter, with a runner at first. Astros with 6 runs on 12 hits. The Phillies 2 runs on 6 hits and 3 errors so far. Has not been the cleanest game for the Phillies.
Oh, it's been sloppy.
Delino DeShields Jr. is the pinch runner over at first. Wills, that's when you know you're getting up there in age, when you've seen the entire career of a player's father. And now you've seen him.
I've been there long before you in that area, and it never ceases to. Well, I don't know what it does. It's a reality check. But the first time it happens, wow.
Well, get ready to watch somebody run, because Delino DeShields Jr. stole 101 bases last year and scored 113.
His dad could run.
And there he goes.
Oof.
Ground ball toward third. No chance to get him at second. He stumbles going around the second base bag. One out here in the 8th. Only 2 players in minor league baseball a season ago scored 100 and stole 100. Billy Hamilton was the other one for the Cincinnati Reds. That gentleman could flat out fly. That'll bring Jose Martinez to the plate with 1 away here in the top of the 8th.
Speaking of guys from Delaware, another one, Delino DeShields.
He's built a little different than his dad, though.
Yeah. Well, it's a little thicker.
It certainly hasn't slowed him down. Strike in the inside corner, and it's 0-1. Ball hit foul just past the camera well on the third base side. Nice play by the ball girl. inside. 1-2 the count. Mentioned before how the Phillies have lengthened their depth as far as pitchers go, battling for spots in this year's bullpen. A little different case this year compared to last year with all the arms that Charlie and Rich Doobie have in camp this year. Charlie talked a lot during the offseason. I know you spoke with him, Wills. I was with him a number of times in the offseason. He talked a lot about competition, how important it is at every position, including on the mound, to have competition, guys battling for spots. And there's something to that. You know, they come in, not that they don't come in good shape, but they'll come in better shape. You know, their focus will be even better than it was, let's say, a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it can be a good thing, no doubt about it. Now, it wasn't so bad in those years when you basically knew your starting lineup before it started. But that's rare. It really is. And now there's a lot more competition here for jobs. It'll be fun to watch it play itself out this year. That's Mike Compton down there with Charlie Manuel in that shot we just had. Longtime catching instructor for the Phillies, field coordinator. Mike's had a lot of roles. Was a player for the Phillies back in the 70s. There he is.
Folks point to Mike Compton and Mick Billmeyer for the success of Carlos Ruiz behind the plate for the Phillies.
Yeah, Mike Compton's a very good teacher.
Paredes fouls that one back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to him. 2 outs here in the 8th inning.
He had a chance to play in the big leagues back around the time when Tim McCarver and Mike Ryan broke their hand in the same game in San Francisco, and they needed catching help.
Yeah, back then, news didn't travel as fast as it does now. If it was now, he'd be watching the game or listening to the game and say, you know, and hear that a guy broke his hand and said, oh, maybe I have a chance.
Yeah.
And then when another guy breaks his hand, said, oh, I better have a chance.
Same game.
2-2 the count to Paredes. Jimmy Paredes, another guy who last year got an opportunity to play for the Astros after he hit .318 in AAA with 13 home runs and 59 runs batted in. On the hands, that'll drop just past Michael Martinez. A run will score, and it's now 7-2 in favor of the Astros.
We talk about a team that has a lot of competition. Right here, there are jobs all over the place in this Houston Astros team. You come in as a hungry young player, you're going to get some major league experience and get a chance to play up here.
Well, they have the least number of players in baseball invited to camp this year. The least number. However, their 40-man roster has 50% of the players on it now were not on it a year ago. I mean, that's remarkable to have that kind of turnaround.
Guys are going to have to wear name tags all spring.
You know, even guys that you thought would be with them as 2013 get underway, like a Jed Lowry, they've been traded. Jonathan VR plays shortstop for the Astros. Hits that one back toward the middle. Michael Martinez throws him out. A run does score for Houston, so they tack on another one. We've played 7.5. The Astros lead the Phillies 7-2. Jimmy Rollins had another record-breaking year last season as a shortstop defensively. He picked up another Gold Glove. Man, he made some unbelievable plays throughout the course of the 2012 season. He's considered one of the top 3 defensive shortstops in all of baseball. And in honor of Jimmy Rollins, a free Rollins replica Gold Glove trophy. Compliments of Turkey Hill will be given out to fans 14 and under. Saturday, April 7th against the Royals. It's, as we said, part of Turkey Hill Kids Opening Night. Order your tickets now at Phillies.com. Talk about innovation. That's a great giveaway. As Enciarte leads it off for the Phillies here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ender Enciarte, Rule 5 selection by the Phillies. Major League Rule 5 selection by the Phillies during this offseason.
Right, which means that he will get a good look here in spring training. He has a lot of tools, and that's why they drafted him. Can really run, play center field. Got a little infield hit in the squad game yesterday.
See how he stayed in there. They talked about that the other day when we met with Ruben Amaro and Charlie Manuel and Rich Doobie and Mick Billmeyer and Benny Looper from the Phils front office. See what he did last year in single A, hit .319.
They have 3 guys that can run the ball down center field in these spring training games, and this guy, Gillies and Ben Revere. There's Ruben Amaro Jr. right beside us up here in the booth,
all the way
in the press box.
Check swing, foul ball, remains 2-2. Rule 5 draft was named because that's where its place is in the Major League Baseball rule book. The Phillies drafted Enciarte, and for $50,000, he's part of the organization. If they choose not to keep him on the Major League roster for the entire season, he has to be offered back to the team that he was selected from. Now, they could choose not to take him. But you would think with his tools defensively that if he's offered back, that he will be taken back. You can also work out a deal with that team. Phillies have had success with Rule 5 draft selections, most notably Shane Victorino.
Yeah, who was offered back to the Dodgers, and they didn't take him.
Right. The Phillies worked out a deal where they had Shane in AAA. Turned out to be an MVP year, and then he made it to the big leagues and had a big impact on their success in the postseason. And it remains 3 balls and 2 strikes to Enciarte. He stayed in there again, takes ball 4, and he's aboard to start the 8th inning. Don't miss out on any Phillies news, alerts, or inside information. Sign up today for the CSNPhilly.com Phillies newsletter. Sign up right now. Follow the stylings of Jim Salisbury.
Stylings?
Jim, who pronounced earlier in spring training that he came into camp in the best shape of his life.
He's fun to be around.
Oh, he is.
He loves baseball. A great writer. Become a TV star now too in his own right.
TV star.
And one of the fun guys in the business to be around.
There's a breaking ball taken high, and it's 1 ball, no strikes to Cody Ashe. Ashe finished up last season with some of the best numbers of any Phil in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he's another guy they want to get a little bit of a look at here in spring training. Not going to make the ball club probably, but Cody Ashe is a guy they look at down the road as possibly the 3rd baseman for this team. Looking forward to watching him too. We haven't seen that. People ask you about these guys. I don't know. You don't see them. And now you have a chance to see them a little bit in spring training, a little better feel for them.
Cody Ashe combined last year to hit .324 between single A here in Clearwater and double A in Reading. 62 games in single A. and then 68 games in Reading. He had 300 in Reading with 10 home runs and 47 runs batted in. And he lines that one sharply on one hop to second, and they're going to turn two. Inciarte, as the ball was hit right on the nose, froze. And an easy double play.
Yeah, there's nothing much Inciarte can do about that except just freeze. Ball's hit really hard. It's sinking the whole time. It looks like it could be in the air, and then it's a quick little one hop and then an easy 4-6-3. But he hit that ball right on the nose. They've had a few of those today, line drives at people. But this game, if they lose it, got away a little bit early with some not real good defense.
Pete Orr grounded out his only time up. Pete's getting ready to head to the World Baseball Classic with Team Canada.
Philippe Omar, Tyson Gillies.
That ball's hit to right center field. Paredes on the run, and he has no chance. That one is gone.
Thought we'd see more of that today, but I haven't had that many balls hit in the air with any authority, because if you hit it at all today, it's gone to any field.
Yeah, that ball sounded good off the bat and carried even better out to right center field. First home run of the spring for the Phillies. And they now make it a 7-3 ball game.
They really like Pete Orr. He's a popular guy. Breaking ball right there out over the plate a little bit. Got it up in that jet stream and carries out onto the berm in right center field. Tom says the first home run by any Philly this spring.
Kevin Franzen up for the first time.
Charlie probably gave him an iron ore.
He very well could have said iron ore.
That's what he likes to call you.
And what does he do? What do he call him when he doesn't hit well? Pig iron?
Pig iron.
Yeah.
Pete Orr's just one of those people that he's just fun to be around him. He just loves life.
Fly ball, shallow center field. Playable for Barnes. Phillies do get a run back on the home run by iron ore Pete Orr. His first of the spring, the team's first. We move on to the 9th inning, game number 1, the spring slate. Their 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. How about this giveaway, Wheels? Compliments of the good folks at IBEW Local 98. A Ryan Howard wiffle ball set, free to fans 14 and under. Make your plans, get your tickets by going to Phillies.com.
Would like to correct that it, of course, is Tyson Gillies. I call him Gillies, and I would like to thank newly married Greg Castriato for that. Still has his wits about it.
He's just keeping you on your toes.
Well, he'll do
spring
that.
Training for everyone.
And we appreciate that, Greg. Thank you. Greg was married a week ago today, in fact, over the beach.
Yeah, congratulations to Greg and Melissa.
Melissa's here at the game today.
Brandon Barnes, the batter, as we start the 9th inning. A check swing. And It's over, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Very nice ceremony. Had to be moved inside because it was very cold and windy last Saturday.
I have to say, one of the more entertaining ceremonies I've ever been to.
It was. In fact, at the end of it, I was wondering if they were legally married. Because there were a lot of stops and starts in it. Vince Noss did a nice job trying to get through that. It was different. It was fun.
Barnes homered his last time up. One of 2 home runs hit today. One by Pete Orr, the other one by Barnes. 7 runs on 13 hits for the Astros. Out to right field. That's pretty well hit. John Mayberry is out toward the track, though, and he's got a beat on it. Now you waved goodbye as that ball was going. You thought that ball was gone?
He hit it right on the end of the bat. But it had a chance. I think it would have been about 50 feet shorter. The Freitas did okay last inning. You know, the one thing you don't want to do as a pitcher, of course, is walk that leadoff guy. And to their credit, they got him around. He has a chance to help in the major league. It's pretty good fastball, slider, raw speed pitch, changeup, work in progress, but really likes to compete. Got that little off-center personality, which is outstanding for guys out of the bullpen because they're out there entertaining each other the whole game. That guy can fire.
If people wonder about the World Baseball Classic, whether it will help or hurt, you know, individuals. For a guy like Almont, he may be given an opportunity to be in key spots for Canada in the World Baseball Classic, which I think every key spot he can get into and then get himself out of will help him down the road.
This guy gets ahead of hitters, he will put them away. Really believe that. He does not. Hitters are very uncomfortable against him. If he gets behind in the count, he'll get hurt.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count to Brandon Laird, playing first base for the Astros. Quintero blocks that one to make it 2-2. Laird will be followed by Jake Elmore, who's in the on-deck circle.
Doing a great job with all these changes. First day on the job.
We're trying to stay focused, Wheels.
Done that. Excellent.
You mentioned before that, you know, spring training's a week longer, so you know some of these guys will linger in camp for a little while. That was a pretty good pitch right there by DeFreitas. It just missed. And Laird's aboard with a 1-out walk.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're not going to be able to cut as much as early because guys, as you mentioned, time will be leaving. Plus, there are a lot more games. You're going to run in split squad games coming up too, and minor league camp. There's a point where that starts, and you're able to bring guys over from the complex.
Get all the news, get all the news that Philly fans need to know on Sports Night every night at 6 and 10, only on Comcast Sports Night. And Quintero out to talk to Justin DeFreitas. He's followed behind 1 ball and no strikes to Jake Elmore. Right field, John Mayberry. Well, he read that well off the bat. It lingered a little bit in shallow right. And there are 2 outs. And that'll bring Robbie Grossman to the plate.
I like that pitch count graphic we have up there, huh?
Well, people, it's such a big part of the game. I mean, even if you're part of old school,
right?
And you're tired of hearing about the pitch count, it is important the way, guys, particularly in spring training, early on, starters will get and relievers will get X amount of pitches, and that's it. They're done. Now later on, relievers like DeFreitas will probably be around the same number, but a guy like Cole Hamels will go deeper and deeper into games. So you can follow along. That ball's lined to left field. Jermaine Mitchell can't cut it off, and it goes all the way to the wall. This may be another run for the Astros. That ball tips off the glove of Michael Martinez, and it will be another run, and the Phillies down 8-3. So Robbie Grossman has his second RBI of the day. You would think they'll score that a double at an RBI. Grossman goes to third after the ball went off the glove of Michael Martinez.
Yeah, it looked like he had a hop he could handle. I don't know. And then it just bounces away from him, and by that time now it's too late because they had a good chance for a play at the plate. That ball's really hammered. Gets through the alley. Mitchell, it's stuck under the wall. So Inciarte gets it back, and it looked like Martinez is trying to catch it and throw at the same time, and he didn't catch it.
Now Delano DeShields up for the first time. He pinch ran his last time in the game and scored. That's 14 hits now for the Astros. And they lead it 8-3.
Well, they're an American League team now. They're an offensive team.
Well, they're going to have to be in that division. There's a lot of controversy about the Astros going over to the American League. Jim Crane purchased the team, and part of his deal in purchasing the Astros was that he agreed to move the team to the American League West. Some folks thought, well, why don't you move the Brewers? They have a legacy. They have a history in the American League. Turns out it's the Astros that move over. And there's differences because, you know, during the regular season, statistically, it seems like you need more offense in the American League. And then, of course, you got to deal with the designated hitter and find another DH to fill that spot. DeFreitas gets to Shields to break his bat and ground out to second. Another run scores. Last licks for the Phils when we get back. Immediately after the game, stay tuned for a complete breakdown with highlights and exclusive analysis only on McDonald's presents Phillies Post-Game Live. And as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning, Phillies down 8-3. Phillies have managed 7 hits today, but they have committed 4 errors. They put another error on the board in the top of the ninth inning. And the Astros will turn things over to Josh Zeed, the former Philly, who comes on to pitch the bottom of the ninth inning, game 1 of the spring training schedule. Phillies have committed 4 errors today. Eric Kratz won on a throw. Ben Revere, Darren Ruff, and Michael Martinez, who was charged with an error on that last play that enabled Grossman to move from second to third on what was scored a double. So Zeed will come on to pitch the bottom of the ninth inning for the Astros. He's another guy who really started pitching very well for the Phillies that they included in the trade for Hunter Pence. And he'll face Jermaine Mitchell, John Mayberry. Those are the first 2 guys to begin the bottom of the ninth inning. Charlie Manuel was anxious to get the spring schedule underway. You mentioned it before, just how competitive he is. Ooh. It doesn't matter what it is. He is competitive. And this year, the focus is on playing cleaner baseball. Obviously, that hasn't been the case today. Making sure that when throws are made, they're made to the right bases. Base running is better than it was last year.
Well, it started out just the way they wanted today, with Revere gets an infield hit, steals second, get him over, get him in, 1-0. That'll be that was a long time ago, but that'll be one thing they'll look at as a positive of the top of the order if they want to go that way, that they executed the first inning. And Hamels was good. A little bit downhill after that.
1-2 the count to Mitchell. Outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. That ball's hit well to right center field. They're not going to get that one. It's going to split the gap and head to the wall. And Mitchell, helmet off, rounding second. He is flying to third. And he'll get to third with the first triple of the spring. It's nice to get all those out of the way.
Yeah, he got that triple on his own. When you hit a ball like that, you can see it the whole way. And you get the second, you're not even thinking about your third base coach there. That was a fastball right down the middle, and he hammers it to deep right center. They did a good job getting it back in, too. You see, right at that point, he takes one look, now the last look, and gets to third easily. That's his play, right in front of him.
Jermaine Mitchell had 11 triples last year in AAA for the Oakland A's in 108 games.
A lot of times after you round second, that's when you start to pick up the third base coach. When you run like that, you can be on your own.
John Mayberry lofts it to shallow center. Barnes coming in. Mitchell tags from third. He stumbled for a moment, and he is out at the plates. You talked about spinning your wheels before. It looked like he slipped maybe a quarter of the way down the line.
Yeah, that's something that obviously during a game during the season never happens. Can't happen because you're down by 5 runs. Even trying for a triple in a regular season game is not necessarily a good play when you're down by 5 runs, because if something goes wrong, you get thrown out. Here it is right here. Very shallow fly ball to center field. Yeah, it was so shallow in center. That wasn't a tough throw. I was looking for where
you know what? Looking at the replay, looking at the replay, it didn't. It looked like it naked eye that about a quarter of the way down he spun his wheels, but looking at the replay, it didn't look like it.
I just think he was so shallow. You just don't go on that play. Now whether they told him to go or not, I don't know.
Joe Mather lines it to left center field. It's deep, but Barnes is there, and he makes the catch. And spring training game number 1 is in the books. The Houston Astros, in their first game as an American League squad, have defeated the Phillies 8-3. So some good things today for the Phillies early on, in particular from Cole Hamels on the hill. And then some rough spots, including the defense, which committed 4 errors this afternoon against the Astros. The final score, it's Houston 8, the Phillies 3. We'll be back to wrap things up from Clearwater right after this.